Everywhere we go, everywhere we go, everywhere we go, everywhere we go, the sunshine. Everywhere we go, everywhere we go, everywhere we go, everywhere we go.
In the history of St. Bernard, there is opportunity. It may look like just an old factory on the Mississippi River, but it's really a monument to American innovation. This is the Ford assembly plant in Arabi. Built in 1923, this factory helped to transform the world, and it may do it again. Today, the owner of the plant is Sidney Torres, and he's taking us back to the future. We are walking into the past right here.
We are.
It's a past where a man with a revolutionary vision was changing every aspect of American life. What part of the past are we walking into right now?
Well, if we want to go back to the beginning, this is Henry Ford, who had the building designed by Albert Kahn. In the 20s, Henry Ford determined that it made more sense to assemble the vehicles outside of Detroit. And so he hired Albert Kahn to design an assembly plant, one of which was built right here in Arabi.
Why would he pick Arabi? What was it about this area that Henry Ford would decide to build a plant in the 20s?
Location, it's on the Mississippi River. There's rail access. He envisioned exporting the vehicles to South America, and it was an urban community where he could sell cars. There was a workforce up to close to 1,000, which at that time might have been as much as 20% of the population of St. Bernard. And they were actually producing record numbers in this very location of Model Ts. The automobile revolution was something that was transformative economically, geographically, as a result of the Model T in the affordability. People could connect from urban areas to cities. There became a need to build roadways. Along the roadways, they had to build accommodations, motels, gas stations, and diners. And as they say, the rest is history.
So Mr. Ford had his assembly line right here.
Right where you're standing.
How many a day were cranked out of this plant?
300. And where you're standing here now, going back approximately 100 years, there would have been 400 people at any given time cranking out those 300 vehicles round the clock. But there was such a pent-up demand that they still couldn't produce them fast enough, but in this very facility, they were breaking records.
You have a 1923 Model T.
I do. It was built the same year this facility opened.
And it still runs.
Still runs.
There it goes. Listen to that.
Pretty cool, huh?
I hope I start when I'm almost 100 years old. When you sit in this car and drive, what do you think about besides the difficulty of having the accelerator and brakes switched around? What do you think about when you're tooling around in a 1923 Model T?
The simple life, and also not to run into anything.
He should worry more about his antique car when I'm behind the wheel, driving inside in a landmark factory designed by architect Albert Kahn.
Albert Kahn was the most famous industrial architect of his time. He, in his own right, is a legend.
Albert Kahn is the father of the Detroit skyline and built the city into a mecca of modern architecture. From the Fisher Building to the GM Building to the Packard Automotive Plant. This is the Packard plant today. Abandoned, forsaken. Its history left to fade and crumble. Because of people like Sidney Torres, this will not be the fate of the Arabi Ford plant. Now on a national register of historic places and destined to be an integral part of the area's continued progress. What do you see when you walk through this building now?
I see a very historically significant building that needs to be historically restored, first and foremost. I also see, for the future, developing it as a sustainable venue for creative industries. And between film, digital, interactive media, combined with a large, multi-purpose event center, I see people congregating here. I see it assisting in redeveloping this community.
Events and soirees already take place here, like this Sold on St. Bernard social that celebrated the area's sustained growth. Soon, tech, trends, and virtual reality will follow, all following in the tracks of the Model T. So you not only see the past, you see the future of this area in this building.
I do, because the same things that made this location desirable to Henry Ford still exist today.
The ghost of Henry Ford pops up right here, right now. What does he say to Sidney Torres?
Go for it.
The ghost of Henry Ford may not be here, but his spirit lives on in the future of his old assembly plant. The assembly line doesn't exist any longer, but you can feel the energy of what happened here and what might happen here.
Exactly. You know, the spirit that you feel, the energy that you feel is right in line with the vision that we have to create this as a hub for the creative industries.
Is the creative spark you're going to light here in this building going to change America?
I hope so.
Everywhere we go, everywhere we go, everywhere we go, everywhere we go. Yeah, the sunshine.